we know that when Americans are appealed to, for example, during the tsunami, during Katrina and Rita, when people saw the tragedy, they wanted to respond and did. But at some point, it leaves the front pages of our newspapers and major news stories, and then people end up going back to what they were doing. It doesn't mean that people are bad. It doesn't mean the media is bad. It just means that the story's led for a few moments and then they move on. And the reality is, we've not created a holistic solution for these issues. And so as a result, they continue to persist in our society. So I would hope, I know maybe media overall has got to refocus and reframe, and certainly you have to have some entertainment value, but my experience domestically is because our media outlets, the major media outlets, are owned by perhaps one entity, that you really don't get true, fair, or journalism. You get a biased perspective, and it just seems that if there was a way to exist where one entity did not own every outlet. For example, in my city of Atlanta, the newspaper, one of the television stations, and several other outlets are owned by one entity. And it doesn't mean that you don't get, to me it seems like that's problematic, because you don't, it seems like that you wouldn't get as much objectivity. Now, you know, we can say that because someone owns an entity, or some major entity owns a news outlet, that they may or may not influence what happens. But I just think in our own human minds, you've got to believe that if someone owns a media outlet, I mean, for example, I've never seen a media outlet attack the people who own the outlet. I mean, that's not going to happen. I mean, you know, it makes sense, but you know, I think you've got to have, from my perspective, number one, I don't believe there's enough diversity. I think that things are too controlled by just a few players. I don't know how we go back to when you had more outlets than we do today. I don't know the answer. I just know that I don't feel that it's good for all consumers. I think it's good for those individuals who have the interest of owning those entities.